Maybe he got tipped one too many times in that previous series. He just couldn't bear to be seen on it once again. Or maybe that's the one that he whips out whenever he needs to take a really competitive series. Because much as how I considered Family to be the underdogs in their previous series up against Viking GG, this time I'm kind of expecting them to have the upper hand against KSK. KSK was the open qualifier team in this group because the other three teams were the closed qualifiers with aggressive mode, family team, and Viking GG. So I don't necessarily have the highest expectations for KSK, but at the same time, I would be more than happy to see a competitive series.
I was talking with Mofar a little earlier about KSK, and he brought up to me that they're like the Hungarian national or like representative. Like that's their team is
Yeah,
KSK.
they do have three Hungarian players. I wasn't aware that it was like, I are they like is there anything official behind it, or do they just have a lot of Hungarian
I
players? Because
think
they do
it's
have three out of five
yeah, they do
Hungarian
have three
players.
Hungarians. I think
Okay,
it's just strictly based on that. I'm not entirely sure.
I
It
mean,
was
that's
just
that's
something I was
fine. Yeah, I
told.
mean, if it's yeah, like I know Norwegians have like Taiga as their like one competitive uh banner boy, I suppose, and so they all root for him. And similarly, I imagine Hungarians, they have been looking forward to have a team to root forward to. So yeah, low skill, their one position is Hungarian. Copy, who is typically their mid laner, who's going to be on the bristleback, is German. Solar and Zero, the offlane and four position respectively, are also Hungarian. And lastly, Filmini, who will be playing the Undying, he'll be from the Czech Republic. So it's a well-rounded mix, but definitely dominated by Hungarians. And I'm like, again, I'm more than happy to see a competitive series. But seeing as how they're the open qualifiers and Family still did okay against Viking GG, I'm expecting them to definitely be the favorites coming into this series.
Yeah, and well, to go with then, just to before you settle into that spot, it looks like Team Family have a little bit of a different roster. I'm not entirely sure if these are different players with 5-Up Dota and
Oh
Sunlight
yeah,
coming in as what was listed or what we saw yesterday. Even I think Smiling Knight, he might be it. I mean, it's supposed to be Smiling Knight, Mio, Radix, Nikwa, Masterisk, but now uh, Nikwa, Radix, and Smiling Knight, unless they're just going by different names at the moment, are not there.
let me see. Okay, so Family. So Radix and Nikwa, I'm pretty sure are the ones missing. I'm guessing that they're not substituting 3 out of 5, and Smiling Knight is just going by Sunlight. That would be my guess. But I mean, they have a level 25 Earthshaker, so they definitely gave some comfort to their stand-ins. But yeah, Nikwa and Rajix, I definitely saw their names yesterday, so I would guess that they've been subbed out.
Yeah, and Sunlight is a former aggressive mode player. He is Bulgarian, or no, from Belarus. Sorry, I was gonna say Bulgarian, but he used to play for Namiga and Pro Dota, so I think that's him and not
Oh, okay. Fair
Smiling
enough.
Knight. Just
So
I
then,
wanted to make sure because it's definitely like you said, it's odd to see three players subbed
yeah,
out.
that's just. I mean, I almost missed this game also myself. A lot earlier than I was expecting compared to the other days that we've had in Pushka League. But then I looked at the other Pushka League games, and in the previous days, most of the series have gone 2-1, and today only one of the series went 2-1. So perhaps that may be a slight reason, as this game is technically scheduled, or at least it was scheduled to be like an hour and a half from now. So minor inconvenience. I'm sure families still have it under control.
Yeah, it looks like it might be able to keep it together. We'll see who comes out on top. I think KSK. Well, what was their first series? Because they're 0-1 right now. I know Family Team's 1-1. Did they play against
KSK gotten
Viking?
2-0
Yeah,
by they got 2-0 by Viking, which I mean, not a it's a perfectly respectable team to go 2-0 against. I mean, 0-2 against, as Filmini
yeah
may
Filmini,
pay
one
for
more
his
shot.
transgressions.
Is Okay. I thought 5 up was kind of maybe saving this for the Weaver to get, but now finally throws out that fissure and does get that kill. Because he held back on that right click, and that was the one that was going to kill him. I think he was hoping that the Weaver could catch up, but then the Decay, he's like, all right, let's just kill him.
That already may have lost vision for a moment, but gives the first blood. Technically does buy at least 1 creep and 1 deny for anti-mage without the Weaver in the lane, so there are worse ways to give first blood.
So let's talk about these matchups, because obviously, you know, we weren't really part of the draft just because my computer, but you know, what are we looking at here for both sides? We see this Bristleback again, this time though over mid. I know we saw him yesterday. We've got an anti-mage in this lineup. Mars is pretty standard to the offlane, and the supports are, I kind of like the duo, but the lockdown here for the side of KSK seems to be lacking.
Yeah, I don't 100% remember when the Shadow Demon was selected, but it is surprising to see Shadow Demon picked and not a more traditional stun setup. Given that he's going to be laning with the Mars, I suppose it does provide some easy setup for a spear. But typically, we see, I don't know, we saw the Void Spirit be paired with it yesterday. I've mentioned previously how like the Centaur is the most common pairing, Slardar is a pretty common pairing. Can't say that I've seen the Mars all too frequently, but Mars is also a relatively irritating hero for Phantom Lancer to deal with in general, so I think they just like that draft setup. And in the other lanes, Undying, pretty solid 5 position for an anti-mage, frequent heals, and anti-mage does not have to deal with all too much lockdown in the laning phase against a Weaver. He should be able to blink out of most things that a Shaker will do. Fissure's not going to be that big of an issue. And lastly, in the mid lane, I would say that the Bristleback's probably the most strange thing, as that was KSK's last pick, and Mio's Ember Spirit was the first pick. And so you had all the time in the world to prepare for a mid lane Ember Spirit, and they end up opting for a Bristleback. So hopefully it does well, because again, like as much as we were making fun of Mio yesterday, I do have confidence that he's like a very, very strong player. And so giving him a playmaker like an Ember Spirit may come back to bite you if your only answer in the mid lane was a Bristleback.
And that was one of the things that we saw didn't see from Mio in the last series against Viking GG, was his lack of mobility from the mid lane. And obviously he played that Quap, a hero that you would expect to be a little bit more mobile, but it seemed like he kind of missed the mark on maybe ganking a couple times during this series yesterday.
Yeah, and this game it's going to be definitely important. I will say that Phantom Lancer and AM probably have like relatively similar timings. Ultimately, a PL will be able to outcarry an anti-mage just because AM can't really deal with many units in a team fight situation. But in a pick-off situation, then the anti-mage will probably have an upper hand on a Phantom Lancer. So I can see the carry matchup going both ways. But in terms of the playmaking potential, again, I think it's much higher on Team Family just because they do have that mobile mid for Mio.
Yeah, so we'll see if they could switch it up from yesterday, where it was a lot of lack of execution, into maybe putting it all together today against the side of KSK. Going back to that Bristle, he's 26-5. He's having a good time, at least for the moment.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever seen this mid lane matchup, so I wasn't sure how it would go. Most melees do struggle against Bristleback, and in terms of base damage, they're basically neck and neck. Copy on the Bristleback has 69, Mio has 64 at level 4. I'm not 100% sure what it was at the earlier levels, but I mean, head-to-head, Bristleback wins most solo lanes. As wow, Anti-Mage actually gets us. Oh, and he survives. Barely. No, never mind.
Ends up dead.
Wow, did he get a solo kill on Weaver? Because like Undying was pulling and Shaker was like
over mid,
roaming mid. That's impressive.
I'm surprised too, because I mean he's got level 2 in the Shikuchi. Cooldown's only 10 seconds unless he gets caught out pretty far. He shouldn't have been dead in that situation. But now Undying drops the Tombstone. Fissure comes out on Filmini. And this is looking like a kill here for the side of Family Team. Can they also get themselves a Tombstone, get that extra gold?
Yeah, it looks like it, as well as the bounty runes, so
Oh, miss. There it is. So definitely not. I don't know about that tombstone usage. I think there's definitely a point where you're like, all right, I'm dead. Don't feed the extra gold, and that's set into a 5-minute bounty rune as well, which is very problematic. And now the lockdown becoming a little bit of a problem for the anti-mage, but like you said, it's not something that he shouldn't be able to deal with, especially having blink up. Should just be able to retreat successfully.
Yeah, I'm actually surprised that Filmini opted for a point in the tombstone at all. I usually see it be saved for like after the laning phase ends, because this is not a team that needs to team fight that much. And whenever they do team fight, like either the fight is over very, very quickly inside of an arena and the tombstone never really gets the potential to like generate a bunch of zombies, or the team fight's moving around all over the place because your cores are an anti-mage who blinks everywhere and a bristleback who's chasing everyone. So I'm kind of surprised that Filmini does opt to skill up the tombstone so early on.
Maybe like a break of synergy. And Filmini drops the tombstone again. We'll see if it helps him this time as the totem comes in, and they're doing a lot of damage onto the Weaver with that decay hitting on the 2. They've also brought over Solar. And
Low skill has a blink.
They've got the blink, and they should be able to get the kill onto 5 up. Now the question is, can they kill off this Weaver? He's getting pretty far away, but Mio makes the rotation, and let's see if they can get anything to turn this around. Family team at least get Filmini. They'll blink away on the anti-mage, and now Solar, who came over towards bottom, might pay with his life. And yes, they did get a kill there onto the Earthshaker, but giving a couple over to the cores of the side of Family team is not the way you were hoping that would go.
That was mainly due to a fortuitous haste rune. It's possible that if he had gotten a different rune, then he would just have fewer remnant charges, but thankfully Mio only needs to spend 1 remnant charge, and picking off an anti-mage always value. And now Mio, level 8, hasn't completed any major items yet, but I imagine once he gets his first item, he'll start trying to join up with the rest of his team and continue bullying his anti-mage. He's getting really low.
Just killed that. He was sitting in the lane so low, and then the Fissure came out and they get the kill with the Weaver. Gets a little bit of revenge.
Wow, okay. Doesn't have to take a walk of shame. I'm guessing that he probably blinked or walked back to the lane after the Ember Spirit killed him, but he'll be able to TP back. But yeah, 2 back-to-back deaths. That more than slowing down the anti-mage, it's speeding up the Weaver. Weaver's now level 6 in this off-lane, despite having to go against like a kind of irritating lane and giving up such an early kill as well. But now Kuropath doesn't really have to be too much concerned about this anti-mage.
Is that how that's it?
May go aggressive again.
He drops the tombstone totem. See if they can get this kill. Weaver trying to go with the Shikuchi onto Filmini as they finally get the kill onto the Undying. Now they look over the anti-mage, who does have that ulti to throw and get the kill here onto 5 up. So they will get 2 is now up top. Master Risk and Solar drop. Sunlight gets the kill on a Solar, also get himself a ward. And 0, he threw down the arena, but it wasn't enough to keep his help alive.
Yeah, actually, I mean, I was going to stick to Kuro for the Weaver, but for obvious reasons, I don't really think that's fair. And then I kind of read the BL4 as like a H, I suppose. We can go with Kuropat. I don't know what the BL4 is about. I'll go with Kuropat.
I'm down with that. Kuropat.
Fissure.
Fissure again. Just low skill. He's
they're
struggling.
going.
They're going to Shikuchi under the tower, look to get this kill into the anti-mage, but they rotate at least the Shadow Demon over to start this one off. They've also got Filmini down towards bottom, so 3 heroes show up for KSK. However, it'll just deter both the Weaver and the Earthshaker.
Well, Master Risk has shown up here now.
And they've got the slow with the Frost Shield out on a Master Risk and the Sinister Gaze, so they've locked down this Shadow Demon. The Fissure comes in, they'll get the kill there. A 3v3 in the bottom lane, that goes beneficial for the side of Family team.
Yeah, and 0 on the Mars actually does not have any points in the Bulwark yet, so he can't necessarily just have a free lane against Phantom Lancer, and he is going to get his bounty rune scooped. 3 of the 4 look like they're going to go the way of Dire.
And both outposts went to the Dire as well.
Oh yeah, you're right.
That is something we saw yesterday that Viking GG was doing really well, was getting those outposts and making sure that you keep the team that's behind by a big margin. It really hurts those supports. And look at
poor Sunlight. Sunlight got a royal jelly, but he's smart. This dude's a Phantom Lancer player. He did not opt to eat the royal jelly, as that does identify which Phantom Lancer is the real Phantom Lancer, because your illusions don't get the buff. And so he sends back both charges back to base, which always hurts as a core player, because usually you want to give the cores the royal jelly so they have to spend less money on regen when they're farming the jungle, but can't do it on a Phantom Lancer.
And Royal Jelly, when it first came out, definitely felt like one of the best tier 1 items.
Oh yeah. Since then, not as strong. The Weaver will definitely enjoy it quite a bit, and so will the Ember Spirit, so it's not like it's totally going to go to waste, as now they're going on the Undying in the bot lane.
And they're just actually focusing on the Tombstone, or at least trying to get the gold there, as Master Risk looks over at Filmini. The decays are coming through, where he's got himself 12 stolen strength. But they're surrounding him. They've got the fissure. They have the damage to get the kill.
Making him work for it.
Yeah, he's now another double decay. Nobody's coming bottom to help him, though. And he's just going around these trees. Finally, Shikuchi goes... Oh, my God. Oh, I was going to say, if he TP'd out of that one, good job on Filmini.
Yeah, he bought a fair amount of time, and they're actually... the siege creep does still stay alive in the process, so it does look like they should be able to successfully take this bot tier 1 tower, although they did spend the glyph. So let's see if Kuropath is willing to tank it, or he'll use his swarm, and so should be able to take the tower now, but yeah, definitely buys a whole lot of time. And I don't know, surprisingly, despite all this aggression in the bot lane, yet again, Mio is just kind of content to farming. He's completed the urn, and I would have imagined that he would start hunting for some charges, but instead, he's just kind of chilling as Lich gonna Chain Frost and kill the Anti-Mage?
Off the Mud Golems.
That is an amazing pick. How does that even happen? Did AM blink high ground to farm a camp? I think, yeah, okay, so based off of my detective work here in this jungle camp, I see a ward here, and so I'm assuming Lich came to ward. Anti-Mage blinks up to the high ground, and immediately Lich is like, oh my god, there's an Anti-Mage right in front of me, and then he just goes out and kills him.
Ooh, Filmini again getting chased by Kuropath, who's going straight into the Axe, this offlane Weaver Axe, which used to be very popular, what, like a year ago? Maybe a little bit more than that, when we were seeing a lot of that Axe Weaver.
Yeah, I think it was a little bit more than a year. It's whenever VP had first brought it into popularity, which was maybe like 2 years ago or so, but definitely fallen off now. And even this team, I don't really see them necessarily benefiting from it that much. If they had the Bristleback on their team, then it would be amazing. But I don't know, like Ember Spirit is a hero that doesn't necessarily need the save. I guess, yeah, it seems like not that useful for Ember Spirit, who's more limited by... Oh. Wow, Copy is getting super aggressive.
Yeah, he chased to the stairs of the tier 3. I was a little bit surprised by that, and then he turned around. I didn't think much would come of it, as they didn't have the mana immediately to go for like an Echo Slam Fissure combo to keep him close to the tier 3, and only one rotation came in from Mio.
Yeah, Bristle has the hood completed, so he really does not have much to be concerned about right now. As now, Spear, Disruption.
Mio in trouble as he gets hit with that Spear, but he's got the Remnant to escape. A little scary for Mio, but he's okay back under the tier 3 tower, and he's got this Spirit Vessel finished. He's just got to get charges.
Yeah, and I'm not sure where to get charges. The Anti-Mage somehow is actually the hero with like the most vulnerability, which is, I guess, a little bit surprising. He has maxed out Blink, which just goes to show how his laning phase went. As now Sunlight kind of going aggressive on low skill, but maybe in a bit of trouble now.
He needs to be careful as the arena comes in, but
nice.
Doppelganger used, and Kuropath unable to help him for the moment, but continuing to focus on this Anti-Mage, who uses that ult and does not hit Sunlight for that much, and he's going to get chased under the tier 2 tower. Try to leave, Doppelganger blinks, and I think if he had maybe just attacked the Anti-Mage instead of Doppelgangering, he might have gotten the kill there. But Chain Frost gets thrown by Master Risk, bounces off to Solera as well as 0 once, and well, he ends up losing his life as a bunch of rotations are coming in from KSK.
Yo, Sunlight's micro is on point. So yeah, he ends up microing one of his illusions into the wall constantly as Solar now gets the Demonic Purge on Mio.
Boy, yeah, Mio slowed up and trying to catch up to this Shadow Demon where he finally gets the kill. The spear hits the Earthshaker into the cliff, and they'll lose 5 up, so 2 heroes gone on the side of Team Family.
And that's the Blink Dagger debut for the Earthshaker as well, so not necessarily the way he wanted to show it off. He was very close to a good Echo Slam position, but it was the Mars and a spear on.
Another spear.
Yo, KSK definitely turning it up the heat now. They're sick of their anti-mage. Yeah. I mean, what initially started out as a defensive play to save their anti-mage from a Phantom Lancer is all of a sudden snowballed into 2 core kills. Well, actually, no, just 1 core kill. The Phantom Lancer and the Ember Spirit both managed to make out. But the Weaver, the Lich, and the Shaker all ended up going down. And the anti-mage survived as well.
I was a little surprised that the anti-mage got out on that. It seemed like... Was the Doppelganger necessary there when he tried to go after the anti-mage? Had he just
I think he was...
He
was trying to break the trees because AM like hid behind a tree and PL actually has a... Oh, actually, Solar. Wow, another instance of micro from Sunlight being able to confuse this Shadow Demon. And what? Wow. They killed the Bristleback.
They've got 4 heroes up towards top. They were looking for that Phantom Lancer. They left the Bristleback all alone, and now Mio finally has a couple of charges on that Spirit Vessel.
Yeah, it must have been Sinister Gaze forcing him to look in a certain direction, because I find it very unlikely that even with 4 heroes that Bristleback dies with a hood, but ends up going down. It's possible that the Spirit Vessel aura is just starting to kick in general, so he doesn't even need the charges so much, as Bristle's passive regen right now is 16.7 HP per second, so it's quite nice to be able to mitigate that. And then obviously if you have the active as well, it's even more.
Do you like the choice to go for this Radiance for the Bristleback?
Yeah, against a Phantom Lancer, pretty much like the go-to item for everyone is a Radiance. That's why you'd see even like Life Stealer Radiance back in the day, because it's just so valuable against all these illusions.
Echo on the anti-mage, and they're going to try and lock him down long enough to get the kill. And he will finally drop as Kuropath does get the kill on a low skill, but they'll turn this around at least for 1 onto 5 up. They drop down the Tombstone, they've got the Disruption, but a good swipe from Mio as well as a Remnant to try and leave. But the Demonic Purge is put on the Mio, he turns around for a moment, Side Fist Searing Chains hits up both the Undying as well as the Shadow Demon, and they've got 4 heroes here to finally take the life of this Ember.
Demonic Purge is so difficult for Ember Spirit to deal with. Like, he can't activate Flame Guard because it'll get instantly purged off. You can't really escape because your remnants are super slow. Yeah, it's a definite problem.
Now they're going in a Roche. We'll see if they can grab themselves this Aegis.
5 up does not have Slam for like another 90 seconds. Although Sunlight is here and Chain Frost.
They're bouncing around off Roche. The arena comes through, but nobody locked in it except for 5 up who blinked into the arena. He avoids the spear that ends up hitting Master Risk. Nobody did on either side just yet. Sunlight looking to re-engage on this for a moment. They get the kill onto the Weaver's Courier, and now they finally take out Solar. That's Kuropath off-screen near the Tier 1 tower who gets that kill. They'll chase back this Bristleback. They still haven't gotten Roche, and Roche's in at about half health, so the one who comes victoriously away from this fight will probably get themselves the Aegis on top of it all, as they get not only the Tombstone, but Undying's life, so 200 gold going to Sunlight, as well as the kill there on Filmini for Mio. And with those 2 kills, they're able to back off the side of KSK and grant themselves the Aegis potentially.
Great decision making by Sunlight to join this fight. I think this is definitely a strong timing for his Diffusal Blade, so this is another big reason why Radiance is just kind of value on a hero like Bristleback. Once he gets all his mana burned, he is not nearly as intimidating because he can't keep those Warpath stacks up, you can't actively cast your Quill Spray, you just have to get the passive casts, and you're just very limited by your mana pool, which Diffusal Blade mitigates. But with the Radiance, you're always useful as long as you're alive. So once Copy manages to complete this item, which I imagine he's just going to kind of stay in the jungle, right now Family Team are much stronger than he is. but after that comes online, and with Mars completing his Blink Dagger, then things may start going KSK's way.
You know, they've got that big-time initiation where they could blink in, get that arena down, maybe start off with a spear. He'd been pretty good with getting those connections onto something behind the heroes he hits. And if you can continue that, especially with that blink in arena, things can certainly turn in their favor, because they've been fighting well at times. I think there's been moments of hope for KSK, despite the fact that they're down 4,000 net worth.
Yeah, it just kind of depends on the initiation and who finds who first. Because, like, if Shadow Demon ever finds Ember Spirit, then Ember Spirit's screwed. But if Phantom Lancer ever finds, like, the squishier targets, like the Undying, the Anti-Mage, the Shadow Demon, then they're screwed. And even, like, Tombstone's not very useful, because Phantom Lancer with his illusions will just immediately congregate on it. It's a lot of cat and mouse going on, but for right now, Family Team definitely had the advantage, and you can see Phantom Lancer nothing to be concerned of, farming right in front of the Bristleback.
He's got enough gold to get that ulti orb, finish off that Manta style. He's also got himself Vambrace, which is a great neutral item for him to pick up. He's certainly having a good time, as he's only sitting a couple hundred gold in front of the Anti-Mage, but at times has not felt maybe as impactful as the Anti-Mage, and maybe I'm saying that just because he's 1-0-1 and the Anti-Mage does have 4 kills and 2 assists. Although Phantom Lancer finding himself in a timing where he can do a lot more now.
Yeah, and Anti-Mage also has 4 deaths, whereas Phantom Lancer has 0 deaths, so it's just a product of PL basically being left alone in the lane, and only now is starting to push things as they actually get a fissure and burn off all the mana on Copy.
He's just standing here with his back turned, hoping to maybe survive, but the damage coming in is way too much for him to handle. The arena finally flies up. That's after Copy's already dead, and now they'll focus their attention onto the Mars and get the kill onto Zero. So 2 heroes gone into KSK, and after some of the praise I just gave them, that is a bit of a sloppy fight. I don't know if there's any reason for the Mars to jump in at that time.
No, he was panicking. They were not expecting the Bristleback to get that low. Because, like, once all your mana gets burned is now mid lane, they find the AM, they slam him.
Ooh, and they get the kill on a low skill. That is his 5th death.
Wow.
That's a kill you can't be giving up.
Yeah, I don't know really how that happened. Because as soon as, like, Anti-Mage, really the only thing he needs to be worried about is the Earthshaker. As long as he knows where Earthshaker is on the map, then he doesn't need to be too concerned, because Ember Spirit's slight chains, they don't last long enough to lock down an Anti-Mage fully. For Lich, more often than not, you'll be able to see him and get the counterspell up before Sinister Gaze stops you. But if you don't know where Shaker is, then he will emerge out of nowhere, and Ember Spirit can quickly follow up on that. And now they're sieging high ground.
They're looking for the tier 3 tower. They'll back off for a moment. As towards
Copy's so
top
close to
is
his
Neo.
Radiance. Okay. Copy has now finished his Radiance. Part of the reason why I'm also surprised by that mid lane fight is that, like, again, Bristleback did not have the Radiance, and I was like, he should really just jungle until he completes that major item. And so instead they went for a tier 2 defense, and it cost them dearly. They lost their mid laner, they lost their off laner, and they lost their Anti-Mage again.
Still pushing up towards top, pushing up mid as well. They are split pushing a little bit, as Mio was there towards top, but that gets nullified by low skill. Pushes out the lane, still trying to find himself a Manta style, but he needs to be careful of TP. Oh, or at least there was an attempt to TP over to that outpost. Now they'll find themselves the Mars, and Mars will throw down the arena, but with Chain Frost bouncing around now into the back lines, that'll disrupt the fight. Zero ends up dead. They go after the Undying to take out Filmini, and Solar on the run from Kuropath, but will ultimately die to a Phantom Lancer illusion.
Man, that's the dream Chain Frost is literally, you're like, I just need a little bit of extra damage onto this Mars. And then all of a sudden it bounces way the hell south to hit a random Undying who was trying to join the fight, and then proceeds to go into the rest of the team fight. Yeah, that was Master Risk at his finest there, and they're going to be able to take this tier 2 tower. Even with the Radiance timing, Bristleback was not able to enter that fight, really.
Finally, low skill gets himself a Manta style, maybe a little bit more survivable in these fights, but still, it is a tough time for the Anti-Mage throughout this game.
Yeah, I'm actually very curious what 5UP is going to choose to buy on this Earthshaker. I'd be down for like a Shadow Blade. I'd be down for Aghanim Scepter. Anything to make life difficult for this anti-mage, I think, is what he should really focus on.
Meanwhile, the Weaver will go into a Solar Crest. I know he had Diffusal queued up at one point after this Ags, but has decided to go to the Solar Crest, so they'll have that minus armor there, on top of which that'll add to the Swarm.
Yeah, anything to enable the Phantom Lancer, which I imagine is also the justification for the Aghanim Scepter, is they just want this PL to get gigantic. Really, the only concern is once a bunch of Quill Sprays stack up is they find copy.
Oh, Bristle in a lot of trouble to commit the Echo Slam to this. Now the Tombstone is down. And Filmini, I wish I had that kind of statistical program on my computer just to know how many Tombstones he's given out. Because it feels like it's been a couple thousand gold as they're going to go onto the high ground. Solar will die.
Okay.
Filmini next to follow. And things are falling apart real hard here for KSK.
Yeah, Sunlight didn't even need to finish it off himself. He just sicked 2 illusions on it and then dedicated his own hero to finishing off that Undying, picking off the Shadow Demon, and... oh, Anti-Mage. This is... like, I don't blame low skill at all, even though he did give up that one clumsy death in the mid lane. His lane was kind of difficult, and at this point, he can't join any team fights, so I'm not surprised that he's not defending this high ground. There's not really much you can do. Bristleback is respawning, so it's possible that low skill may be able to find some exit kills, but still, it's very, very difficult as Phantom Lancer is already left, and the rest of family is also a smooth exit.
Craggy Coat. Now they've got, oh my god, Orb of Destruction, even more minus armor.
Yeah, meanwhile, Anti-Mage gets a Craggy Coat, which is like... nah, I guess Shadow Demon will like it. A Craggy Coat could be pretty useful against a Phantom Lancer, but I'm pretty sure AM is like, I need an item that I can use to end this game, or at least, like, stall this game out. Which, again, like, even if it goes, like, late, I still kind of favor Phantom Lancer.
Well, 13,000 net worth. I don't know if Anti-Mage alone can make this happen. As they look over at the Shadow Demon, they've got the damage to get the kill there. Solar will end up dead. They look over at Zero. They've got the focus onto this Mars, who's out of mana and potentially out of time, because this totem comes in. They've got the sword to keep him alive, but it seemed like a little bit of a lack of commitment there from Team Family, because the Mars was all by his lonesome out of mana.
Yeah, they don't have the Aegis anymore on the Phantom Lancer, and so they don't want to get too greedy. PL is 7-0-3 right now, so if he dies inadvertently to an Anti-Mage, then things could definitely start swinging the other direction.
He's got Silver Edge ready for that Bristle. We thought he wasn't living before, but now it's going to be that much easier.
Yep.
Eesh.
Which once upon a time you could say that, like, oh, you know, it's also good for, like, the HP reduction. But now, after the nerf, it's pretty much just exclusive for Break. Ooh, Quickening Charm now for 5-up.
Anti-Mage thinking of himself, you guys want to trade this Craggy Coat? Please? I'll take that Titan Sliver. I'll take anything.
Yeah, actually, wait, so, Bristleback took the coat, which, man, you generally do not really want the coat on your cores, especially one that kind of right-clicks. Like, Bristleback's a very competent right-clicker. He has nearly 200 physical damage on his right-click, and with Warpath, you know, his attack speed, it's kind of valuable to have attack speed whenever you have Warpath, but I guess he just wants to stay alive for that Radiance for as long as possible. And they're going to try to make a play for this outpost. Meanwhile, Dire Couriers are scouting out Roche, which will respawn.
I'll grab the outpost just in time for the 30-minute mark. I think this is the first outpost they're going to get.
Yeah, I think so. But the real question is, will they be able to do anything about this Roche attempt? And
should go down very
outlook
fast.
looks grim. Yeah, instead they're contesting for these bounty runes.
Look at the minus armor. Jesus.
Aegis on Sunlight, she's on Mio, and Mio now has a Lincoln Sphere, so it's kind of easy to pop Lincolns this game, technically, but chances are he's going to be moving around so much that Shadow Demon is going to be like, I need to get this Demonic Purge on him as soon as I see him, and I am guessing that's the intention for this Lincoln Sphere, just solely to mitigate that, and maybe in a potential Abyssal Blade, as Low Skill has completed the Basher, and he's working his way to the Abyssal, does not have the gold for buyback, and this is the kind of fight that an anti-mage will have to join, because 1 Rax down is passable, but 2 Raxes down, that becomes kind of difficult at that point.
Yeah, he is pushing out bottom currently. We'll see what he's able to accomplish there, and if he comes back. They've already got the kill on the Filmini. They put the repair kit out onto the tier 3 tower over to the top lane. The arena comes in and it locks up the Weaver with the spear, but you take a look as they just chase back this Bristleback into the well. Sunlight going to start to retreat as we take a look back over to tier 3 as Anti-Mage ends up dead, as does this Mars. And this Anti-Mage doesn't have buyback, so this is looking like the end of the game here and the end of the road for KSK in this game 1 as they look over to the Mars who just bought back. He'll end up dead once again, and that buyback symbol won't even disappear before he's dead a second time.
Sunlight doesn't even need to burn through his Aegis. He may do it now onto Copy. Still 10 seconds until the Silver Edge is up, so... Oh, never mind, he's just going.
He's looking over at Filmini as well as Solar, and Copy just trying to throw out some quills. Maybe they can get the Aegis. He's sitting here at 120 health, but he's past the cheese by Mio, and he says, I'm not going to lose this Aegis. We're just going to win the game right here, right now. They'll get a couple more kills, and the Bristleback will buy back, but... it really doesn't feel like there's much valuable options with that buyback.
Nope. They will penetrate the repair kit, finish off that second lane of Rax, and oh, they find the Shadow Demon.
Yeah, 5-up takes a bit of damage there from Copy, but he'll still be able to survive, especially with the help there of the Frost Shield that comes in from Master Risk. The disruption will keep this Bristle alive while he's in it, but the second he pops out of it, he is dead, and GG will be called by KSK. His family team will take game 1.
Well, unsurprisingly, I did consider them the favorites, but I did not really expect it to be that dominant. I did not expect an anti-mage to get basically nothing.